War begins. Russia launches full offensive to attack Ukraine, a brutal act of war. Before dawn Friday, more explosions were heard in Ukrainian capital, Kyiv, as Russian forces continued their assault. Several journalists published footage that appeared to show missile strikes on the capital. Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine on Thursday, unleashing airstrikes on cities and military bases, and sending in troops and tanks from three sides in an attack that could rewrite the global post-Cold War security order. Ukraine's government pleaded for help as civilians piled into trains and cars to flee. Military forces battling Russians on multiple fronts suffered dozens of casualties. A Ukrainian government official, Anton Gerashenko, said Kyiv was being targeted by cruise or ballistic missiles, CNN reported. On Friday morning, Zelensky made another appeal directly to Russians watching the invasion from home as Ukrainian officials braced for an attack on Kyiv. Tonight, you began bombing residential areas in the hero city of Kyiv. This is like 1941, the Ukrainian president said, according to a translation by the Financial Times. I want to tell all Russian citizens who are coming out to protest. We hear you, you heard us, you started to believe us. Fight for us. Fight the war. A day earlier, Russian President Vladimir Putin ignored global condemnation and cascading new sanctions as he unleashed the largest ground war in Europe since World War II and chillingly referred to his country's nuclear arsenal. He threatened any nation trying to interfere with consequences you have never seen, as a once hoped-for diplomatic resolution now appeared impossible. Ukrainian forces sought to fend off a Russian barrage of land and sea-based missiles, an attack that one senior U.S. defense official described as the first salvo in a likely multi-phase invasion aimed at seizing key population centers, decapitating Ukraine's government and installing a new one. Already, Ukraine officials said they had lost control of the decommissioned Chernobyl nuclear power plant, the scene of the world's worst nuclear disaster. Russia has embarked on a path of evil, but Ukraine is defending itself and won't give up its freedom, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tweeted. His grasp on power increasingly tenuous, he pleaded Thursday for even more severe sanctions than the ones imposed by Western allies and ordered a full military mobilization that would last 90 days. Zelensky said in a video address that 137 heroes, including 10 military officers, had been killed and 316 people wounded. The dead included all border guards on the Zemeny Island in the Odessa region, which was taken over by Russians. Zelensky said in the address that Russian saboteurs had entered Kyiv and said intelligence found, "The enemy has identified me as the #1 target. They want to destroy Ukraine politically by destroying the head of state," he said, adding that his family was the #2 target. President Joe Biden announced new sanctions against Russia, saying that Putin chose this war, and that his country would bear the consequences. Other nations also announced sanctions or said they would shortly. Fearing a Russian attack on the capital, thousands of people went deep underground as night fell, jamming Kiev's subway stations. But the exhaustion was clear on many faces. And the worries. Nobody believed that this war would start and that they would take Kyiv directly, said Anton Mironov, waiting out the night in one of the old Soviet metro stations. I feel mostly fatigue. None of it feels real. The invasion began early Thursday with a series of missile strikes, many on key government and military installations, quickly followed by a three-pronged ground assault. Ukrainian and U.S. officials said Russian forces were attacking from the east toward Kharkiv, Ukraine's second-largest city, from the southern region of Crimea, which Russia annexed in 2014, and from Belarus to the north.